Welcome to Code Breakers, Women in Tech, the podcast where we delve into the world of technology and innovation. Join me, Candice, as I meet inspiring women from the southwest of England's tech ecosystem and dive into the journeys of tech leaders who are breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations. So today I'm delighted to welcome Emily Hill to the Code Breakers podcast. Emily is a co-founder and CEO of an award-winning software company, Ghyston, and has over 15 years of experience in the software industry. She's committed to fostering a positive work environment and empowering her team to be the very best that they can. So it'll be really interesting to understand how you got into the world of tech and how you kind of set up Ghyston.
So I entered the sort of tech industry as a software developer. I didn't have any experience, but I was lucky enough to be taken on by a company that would train me up and give me that opportunity. And I met my now husband in a software development house in London. And we decided after a few years that we'd really like to move out of London. So quite a boring entrepreneur story, really. But we wanted to move out of London. We really liked the company we worked for. And we've ended up creating Ghyston with their help. So the director of that company helped us set up Ghyston. And a lot of the things we've done have been similar to the way that company operated. We've kind of added bits from what we would like, sort of improved bits which we thought could be different. I'd already sort of started doing more project management. My husband led Ghyston for the first few years, and I was in and out of the business, having two of our children. And then I was kind of backfilling in the sort of HR people side of it, things, because that's what we needed at the time. I think often founders end up doing every job, really, in the company. And then about 5 years ago, we sort of switched. My husband had an opportunity to help a client in a sort of quite specialised way, and I took over the running of Ghyston on a day-to-day basis. So that's how I ended up here.
Wow, so you've done everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Within the company. There was just a few points there that you made that I think are really valuable. Starting your career saying that you had no real IT qualifications as such. So I did a university degree at a university in Bristol, business management, and then prior to that, the only real IT qualification, shall I say, is that I did an AS level in IT, and then I just landed in the technology market once I graduated. So it's interesting that you've had the similar experience. Do you notice that a lot with the people that are within your business as well?
Yeah, well, I think my experience has probably influenced the way we do things at Ghyston as well. So I did a maths degree, and although that, software development is quite sort of mathematical, I hadn't really done much coding. And in fact, I think I'd sort of ruled myself out of that as a career because I didn't feel I knew enough about computers. And so I thought, these people over there know about computers, that's not what I know. And it took quite a while for me to pursue that goal, because I did a bit of programming in different jobs I did, and I really enjoyed it, and it just took me a while to persuade myself that I could actually be brave enough to do that as a career. But the fact that a company took me on when I had so little experience and trained me up, and that was their sort of model, and that was a really successful way of doing it. I think it meant they could attract people from different degree disciplines, different walks of life even, and that's what we try and do at Ghyston as well. So we always train everyone in-house, and even people who've done computer science degrees, we actually give them the same training when they get to us, and we find that they've got a lot to learn in terms of producing production code as well as the people who've done a physics degree or who've had a completely different career, maybe done a coding boot camp or something like that. So we'd like to give everyone the same training to get them all on the same level anyway. And we find that people who haven't studied computer science catch up very quickly. And I think it's really important for building a diverse team that you're looking in those different areas for candidates.
Completely, and I think it helps in fostering that work ethic, and you're all part of the same journey. You've all started with the same ground, I guess.
It does, and I think because our employees tend to stay with us for quite a long time, a lot of our employees will come in as a junior developer, and they'll do that training and go through that, and then they might then actually decide they prefer project management, or they are really interested in sort of business analysis or sort of product ownering, and so they'll kind of go into another path. And some people will stay as a software developer or go into tech leading as well, but you can kind of stray from that. But everyone's got that really strong foundation of coding, so that really helps, especially if you're managing a team of coders. It really helps that you also know how to code and you know what that side is like. So
Completely.
yeah,
completely. I was just looking at your website actually, and I can see that there's I think it's a blog by yourself, and it's mentioning about the things that you used to do when you were younger, may not being the female hobbies as such. Do you feel that IT is still quite a male-dominated industry, or do you think that we're slowly paving the way for women and more women to enter the world of tech?
I mean, it is male dominated, and I think a lot of people are trying really hard to bring more women in. But I do think there is quite a lot still to do. We tend to recruit every year. We just recruit a sort of cohort of graduates from university, and we're always saying we want 50-50 male female, or at least a sort of 40% female sort of intake. And it took us quite a lot of years to realise how much effort that needed, and we are now much better at it. But it was really hard, even with the best intentions. So I think, we still had the right ingredients, but we still had to look much harder than we thought we would to find those people who we could get to apply. And I think as soon as people applied and came and looked at office, maybe did an internship with us, they were like sold on it. But I think there is quite a long way to go to show women that there's a place for them in the industry. And it might be that men will find some roles more attractive than women, but I think also there's just a lot of roles that isn't true for, that people maybe don't know about. So I think what we need to do is talk about all those other roles, not just the coding roles maybe, but the other roles that you can do, and what you can achieve with it, sort of talking about the overall sort of purpose of why you're doing it. And that's probably how to maybe get more women attracted into the industry.
I mean, I've been in the IT industry for coming up to 6 years now, and I didn't know half of the roles that existed in the industry until I've got a little bit of experience. You mentioned project management and things like that there are some really, really technically advanced roles. But there's also some other roles that, maybe are more in line with how a woman would want to conduct her role, kind of thing. I've done account management, I've overseen, projects be completed, technical reports being completed, a little bit of coding. There's such a breadth of information that definitely there's roles out there that will be incorporating this on a daily basis. But you're completely right. It's about how do we get that out to the younger generation, or people at university and college that are looking for that next step after they graduate.
And I think because like teenagers, I guess, really, like typically a lot of the boys will be playing games on their computers, perhaps, and the girls won't be. The girls might be thinking, oh, well, computers are a boys' thing. But of course, playing Fortnite on a computer has nothing to do with having a role in the tech industry, really, is it? So
completely
real misconception, and it could really lead people down the wrong path of thinking that's not for me because I don't like to do online gaming.
I guess it's about the education piece, isn't it? How can we incorporate the tech industry early on for women that they're interested in? Do you go out and speak to lots of younger people in universities and colleges and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'd love to do more, is to go into to do more sort of talks in schools and things. Although actually, I think in schools maybe better for younger women to go in because they're a bit more relatable. And I've sort of spoken on a few sort of panel events with the university, and I go along to the recruitment fairs at the university and speak individually to students. I think we just need more women doing more things, basically, and be more role models and examples of what jobs can be like and how they can be fun and purposeful. I'm not sure how best to achieve that yet. So.
I guess just looping back to what we were talking about at the start, encouraging a positive working culture is something that you're quite into. Where did that kind of come from?
I think if you want to recruit the best people and retain them, then you really need to be focused on having a positive work environment. I think also for me, it's just I wanted to come to a place that I liked working in. So it sort of seemed very natural to build that kind of work environment for everyone else as well. So I think although it is linked to business success, and for us, we're sort of selling our people, really we're offering a service that they need to provide for us. So it's really important that we look after those people, but it's also just really nice. It's really fun. And you spend so much of your life at work. I don't want to work anywhere that I don't enjoy and that isn't a positive place to be, and I don't want to force anyone else to do that either, I suppose.
Completely. How do you think business leaders like yourself can help their teams keep that company culture rolling as they grow?
Being really careful about who you hire is important. So if you know your sort of company values and what's really important to you as a company. And then make sure you're sort of hiring people who also value those same things. And then if you give your employees a certain amount of autonomy to kind of, the term that sprung to mind was self-police, but I don't mean that in a sort of strict way, but more just like everyone wants the culture to be like you want it to be. Everyone believes in those values, and you're kind of encouraging people to use their own initiative to make sure as a group we're doing those things and living by those values. I think that's the way to ideally scale whilst holding on to it, because if you can't really sort of enforce a culture on a group of people, it doesn't, it doesn't really work. So you've got to have everyone bought into the idea. And then I think just as a leadership team, you need to really be living the values and demonstrating it, as well as it sort of finding ways to encourage and reward it in other people.
And how do you get the employees' buy-in as such into the ethos? Is it something that the onboarding process is crucial because that's where it all starts? Is it there's regular team events that are kind of enforcing this company culture? How do you continue to get that through the team and maintain it?
I mean, I suppose there's different bits of the culture probably. For us, it's really important that people feel really comfortable at work. And we put a lot of effort into creating opportunities for people to make real friendships and bonds with their colleagues. So we have a big morale budget, a pot of money, and we give people morale holiday that they can take just to spend with their colleagues doing fun things. That budget is run by the employees. We try and keep out of it, so they're deciding how to spend that money, but that's all about trying to make people feel welcome and like they belong and like they've got those friendships and ties. So I think that's sort of the main thing for us that we sort of start with in terms of getting people bought into how we like to do things at Ghyston. As I said, we recruit based off our values, and they're definitely in our onboarding process. We give awards out every other week based on people like doing things within those kind of like value areas. We have special days when we focus on innovation, for example, which is one of our key values. So we do promote it a lot in what we say. I think because those bits of the culture are really important to us as a leadership team, we naturally talk about it a lot, and we naturally demonstrate it as well. What's key for us probably in getting everyone bought in is that people do make those friendships, and then it kind of gets passed along because people chat about it. So yeah, a lot of the work's done for us, I suppose, in that sense.
I guess we spend more time at work than we do at home. So having those work friendships are quite significant when it's coming to, liking your job, liking your workplace, liking your colleagues. Having a workplace that does encompass all of those things that you've just mentioned, recognition, feeling part of a team, being, liked by your colleagues and liking your colleagues as well, fosters that belief in the business that is going to be successful and positive. There's a saying, I'm going to try and remember it now, that I can't remember it now, but it's something like negativity triples, positivity doubles, or something like that. So if there's lots of negative people, the negativity just spreads quickly, and before you know it, everybody's negative.
That's difficult, and I think what's important with that is to be really listening to what employees are saying and have avenues for them to raise any concerns they have about the business. If they think that you're not living by your own values, or or if they just think we could do things better, like there needs to be channels for them for people to raise that, and then you need to be actively responding to that. We are often asking our employees for their input on decisions. So just today we're hoping to move office at some point, so we were sort of discussing office plans, and we put a big plan up on the board, and people are putting post-it notes on what they like and don't like, and have we thought of this, and where the whiteboard's going to be. I think people really like that. They like to be asked, and they like to sort of have ownership of the direction of the company, because it affects them so much. But as I say, you have to then listen to it and respond to it. You've got to make sure people understand, even if you're not going to do anything about it, because you've got good reasons, that it needs to be put on hold or whatever, that you're kind of feeding that back to people.
I guess then to finish then, Emily, is there anything that companies can kind of use to develop that's going to help in foster the company culture and being part of a team?
That values piece is really important. I think a lot of companies do define their company values, but it's about making sure you're using them at every level and reinforcing them, and that they are that they're genuine for the team that you're leading. So people have to resonate with them and see that you believe in them, and then it gives people kind of purpose to their job a bit more, I think, to know they know what's expected of them and what sort of success looks like, to be part of that team. So I think that's really important. And then I would say just making sure there's time put aside for that sort of socializing, that kind of the communication bit between team members, the kind of bonding. For us, certainly we found that incredibly important. If it's new to your company, you might find that does bring up some negative things. So then just having a place where that can come out and you can listen and respond to it is probably a good idea to start with. But I think if you're giving people freedom to make choices and make suggestions, then hopefully you can turn that around into really positive talk about how you can move the company on and do better as a team and make it a more positive environment for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very, very much for your time today, Emily. We'll have to end it there. Hopefully our listeners will take something valuable away from today's episode. Thanks very much for joining, and join us next time for the next episode of Codebreakers. Join me again next time on Spotify, Apple Podcast or YouTube to meet our next inspiring guest and to delve into their journey into tech.